Hi Internet, I'm Ms. Jamie Rice and you are watching ComicsVerse. I'm here with Brandon Montclare and Amy Reeder, co-creators of Rocket Girl. How are you guys doing today at the con? I will go here.
I bet we're going to have the same answer. Doing great. It's a lot of fun.
Awesomely.
Have you guys seen any crazy cosplay today that you want to tell us all about?
Yeah, I saw Ming from Flash Gordon. I was pretty excited and I was screaming at him and he didn't come. So, yeah.
We saw Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which was amazing. Yeah, so they were pretty cool. Yeah, and then also, not today, but that big Hulk one that everyone's been talking about, that Hulkbuster Iron Man, it's been really cool too. I saw that upstairs the other day. Amy didn't get to see it though. But not
You
as
should
good
see
as Moon
it.
Girl and Devil Dinosaur. That was the best one. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
There was also a really big Deadpool debacle. Yeah.
The pool of Deadpools, as I like to call them.
That's good.
But going back to Rocket Girl, of course, you created this like crazy teen cop future world, and then you went back to the 80s, which I really love. I think those are both great decades you have there. So what really like drew you guys to those type of worlds? Like, what did you really want to explore with them?
Well, I think really I shouldn't have answered this because Brandon's really the one who wrote it, but yeah, he just gave us a lot of good material. I know that he knows I have a lot of experience writing like period pieces, and this is really like the oldest or the newest you can go as far as a period piece goes. And then it just made sense, right? Because like in the 80s there were all these movies that were supposed to be set in the future and the near future that was supposed to be this decade, and we were supposed to have jetpacks by now. So he just kind of like, I don't know, he was very clever. He put it all together. Good one, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you. No, Amy got it. Yeah, so it was a twist on all the old sci-fi movies, like Back to the Future 2, which just happened, right? Didn't we just pass the day? So yeah, it was. I think it was a couple of days ago, right? October, or whatever. Yeah. So where it was like what the date of that they go to the future and Back to the Future 2, and where are hoverboards and jetpacks and laser guns, and that's kind of the crime she's investigating in 1986. Ties into all that. So she's from an alternate future that we maybe should have had or shouldn't have. So yeah,
So obviously you guys love to collaborate together because of Rocket Girl. And I was just wondering, like, whenever you're writing, are you always thinking of Amy? Like, when you draw, do you think of Brandon? Like, does it start with one person and come to the next, or do you kind of, is it more of like always a together? Rude. Is it always more of a together motion?
Um, you know, it's kind of it depends on the project basically. Like Brandon's definitely the writer. I'm definitely the artist on Rocket Girl. Now we're working on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur where we're co-writing, and it's a little different. Like suddenly we are sort of finding our bearings on like who does what, and we keep switching like page by page. But it keeps turning out pretty good actually. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like Brandon will sometimes write things more open for, especially the action scenes for me to pull off. But for the most part, like in Rocket Girl, we're pretty traditional, I'd say.
yeah, absolutely. It's as a writer, you realize that you're not as good an artist as your artist is, so you should really kind of defer to it. And maybe Amy does the same thing when we're working on Rocket Girl, just kind of both play to our strengths. So as close as we are, and as much as we collaborate, and she sees all my early drafts of scripts, and I see all of her breakdowns of the pages. It really is still very separate, as if we lived 3,000 miles away and kind of collaborated that way. A lot of it's just traditional that way.
So I know you guys went through.
Amy wanted in.
Oh, I'm so. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh no,
I
it's okay.
apologize.
I was just gonna say, like, at one point, I remember Brandon had this really crazy action scene, and he didn't like how I drew it. So we like plunked it out at a coffee shop, and I made him like draw thumbnails, and he can't draw at all. Like it was like horrible, horrible stuff. But I had to figure out what he was talking about. So that was pretty fun.
So you got to switch roles.
Yes.
So lastly, I wanted to ask you about, you've been through a lot of different like processes with getting your books made. Like you went through the Kickstarter, and then also you go through Image, and like, you've been working with Marvel in the past, and like with DC. So like, what's your favorite way of doing this process? Like between the Kickstarter all the way up to like the tops of Marvel, DC.
Well, you know, it's hard to pick favorites, especially publicly. But I mean, it's pretty hard not to say that like I love doing my own thing. I love doing Rocket Girl and having a lot of control, you know. And it's nice to work with Image. It was really great doing a Kickstarter because I was like immediate feedback, you know, and it was like really like heartwarming because like right before that, I kind of had something. I had Batwoman with DC, and it didn't really work out so well. So, so yeah, those would probably be my two top. Is like a Kickstarter format and like working for Image and being left alone.
Yeah. No, it is really great to be able to do your own thing at Image, and not just because you have, kind of you own the characters and it's all you have the creative control also, which you certainly appreciate having worked in for Marvel and DC for a long time. But then you get to work with their cool characters if you do it for them too. So yeah, it's really tough to pick a favorite. But just to echo what Amy said, Kickstarter really is such an amazing experience. It's just so much work and it's sometimes hard. We did a Kickstarter book that then became an Image book, but I don't know that that's going to be done as much these days. So we're always kind of talking about, oh, we're going to do another Kickstarter. What's it going to be about? Because you get that instant feedback, you get people excited about it. You get to kind of interact with them with updates and a daily thing. We delivered our Kickstarters on time, and everyone was, I think, super happy with it. And it's like you look back on it very fondly, like, oh, I can't wait to, once you're in the middle, we're never going to do this again because you're surrounded by boxes, signing books, stuffing envelopes. But it's such a great experience when it's all over. Yeah. So.
So lastly, what would you like to plug today?
Well, in a month we've got Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. It comes out the day before Thanksgiving, so and it's gonna be amazing. It's like the ultimate buddy comic, so check it out.
And of course, still Rocket Girl is still coming out. So issue 7 is done. 8, 9, and 10 are going to be as soon as we can. But we are very appreciative that people are patient. But that's all going to come out, wrap up the arc, and then we're going to take it from there. But that's keeping a lot of stuff on the shelf for the next 6 months or so. Yeah.
You also have a podcast that we want you to be on our podcast. So I want to say, listen to Podcorn because it's a really good podcast and I like it.
Thank you.
Right. But thank you, Amy. Thank you, Brandon. If you like this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also to visit comicsverse.com for more in-depth comics analysis. Also to follow us at ComicsVerse on Instagram and Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Go on Tumblr. Follow us at comicsverse.tumblr.com. Once again, I'm Ms. Jamie Rice, and you have been watching ComicsVerse.
Thank you.